Hey, it's Jay, and you are listening to the Walk With Me podcast. This is episode 15. Today, I'm coming into you from the very sunny and quite hot Southern California. I'm actually walking around my childhood neighborhood. I just left my dad's house to go on a walk and record this episode for you. So I hope you are preparing to or already walking with me. As you know, this is our time to move our bodies. This is our time to get out in nature, which has the most magical ability to help you tap into your unconscious mind, a place we don't trust often enough to solve present challenges, to help shift our mood. And my hope is that the unconscious mind gets to have a say in our hearts, in our minds, in our lives as part of our walk today. So I don't know if you're anything like me, but if you're human, I know you have an ego, which Eckhart Tolle, author of The Power of Now, says the ego is really just a pain body. The ego is the part of your energy, the part of your life experience, the part of you that is having the life experience and connecting information and circumstances from our experiences. One of my favorite learnings when I first became a coach was about beliefs and opening my mind to recognizing that beliefs are not facts. What we think to be true, sometimes even what we feel we know to be true, is not always true. And my favorite way of thinking about this is if you're walking, just put your thumbs together with your fingers pointing up in front of you as you walk and pretend it's like a picture frame that you're looking through, and just see what you see in that frame. And then from your conscious awareness, look at all the things that exist outside of that frame. Look at what you can't see. If you only had access to what was inside the frame, what you would see, what you would know to be true, what you would think existed. That's our beliefs. Our beliefs stem from experiences. They stem from what we were taught as children and then what we've experienced as adults. And there's all kinds of experiences and truth and things that we haven't been witness to because they're outside of our frame. And that's a little bit of what life is like when you realize you have an ego, but there are other parts of yourself in the world that you can harmonize with that have more information. So there's this way that when we're operating from our ego, from our pain body, we can experience fear and anxiety. And fear and anxiety are things that I know so many of us struggle with. And I thought on our walk we could clear some of that up today, just in case there's been feeling a little bit of fear arise, and anywhere in your life that a little anxiety has been present, that our walk today could diminish those feelings. And I wanted to share with you actually something that I believe to be true about fear and anxiety and how I approach it. I'm not necessarily feeling any fear or anxiety today. I'm actually feeling the opposite. I'm feeling really peaceful and present. I'm just coming off of leading a mastermind retreat for my high-end clients, all women entrepreneurs, CEOs, creatives who started their own business. We've been working together for 4 months now and just finished our in-person retreat. And now I've been spending time with family. And I did think about anxiety when it comes to family and fear when it comes to family, because I find our childhood families are our biggest initiators or our biggest check-ins for how grounded, how connected, how healed we really are. Because we can do all this work in our personal lives and we can feel really awesome when we're on a walk by ourselves, but to take that energy and maintain it around some of our biggest triggers, particularly people who share a past and people who we feel are a part of defining or definitely will be in our future, that reminded me of my beliefs around anxiety and fear. And because I'm so well equipped after coming off retreat, if you've ever been on a retreat, you know that you come home a different person. When you can escape your life in a sacred container for 3 or more days, really having the experience of being supported in transformation, walking through tools and techniques to help you, you change. A lot changes. Your identity changes, your demeanor changes, your embodiment changes. And embodiment really is just how well you're able to walk with new standards and beliefs and how incorporated they are into your unconscious actions. And so I'm feeling very present in the moment, very embodied, quite unbreakable. And yet still, I can notice and see the tendency to feel fear and anxiety around family. So here's what I believe fear and anxiety really is. Fear can only exist when your mind is existing or moving into the past. If the past didn't exist in a memory field within your mind, within your ego, your pain body, we would not feel fear, because fear is about recognition that something has gone wrong before, and therefore we need to prepare and save ourselves from it. And this doesn't necessarily have to be an experience you had. It could be an experience your ancestor had in the past that's just in your DNA. These studies are insane. There's actually a study they did on mice around, I can't remember exactly, so don't quote me on this, but it had something to do with cherry blossom trees and dying whenever the cherry blossom trees came around. And so they would use it with the mice in future generations that did not experience the death. They would bring the cherry blossoms into the mice environment, and the mice would experience extreme fear and try to get away, even though there's actually no danger to those current cherry blossoms. So I found this incredibly fascinating, and I've done a lot of research on fear because my clients are up to big things in their lives. They're trying to take big risks, and they are trying to go after the path less traveled, meaning most people are not trying to do the things that they're doing. And so I've needed to have a strong relationship of walking my talk with fear, but also to know and understand deeper what's going on with my clients when fear tries to stop them. And so the main thing that's come up in my research is that fear can only exist when we are operating or tuning into the past. And anxiety is the exact opposite. Anxiety is the belief that something could go wrong in a future moment. And anxiety could not exist if we did not have the ability to go into the future with our minds and our thoughts. Now, we can't physically go into the future yet, but we do it all the time, future tripping on what could happen, and this is anxiety. And anxiety is that mistaken belief that something could go wrong, and it's not always mistaken. Sometimes those thoughts are helpful. But again, anxiety can't exist if not in the future. Only exists when we're taking ourselves to the future. So, if fear arises from venturing into the past, and anxiety arises from moving into the future, then the magic really lies the healing, the peace, the sovereignty really lies in this moment. And if we're present fully in this moment, it's not possible to feel fear, and it's not possible to feel anxiety. Let me reframe that. You can feel them, let's say in the very present moment, something is terrifying, like there's a tiger in front of you. Now, fear may be present, but what is more present if you're not going into the past and you're not going into the future is more clarity about what to do in this moment to survive, and not only survive, but thrive. However, if you're staring that lion in the face and you're thinking about, or trying to think about something from the past, like someone who got ate by a tiger, or anything that takes you out of the present moment, or you're future tripping on what could happen, you're not going to be as active in the moment. And so the opportunity is to perhaps allow any empowering information from the past to enter quickly, any resourceful information from the future to bring you back to the moment. But the goal is always to come back to the moment. Because in the moment, when you're present in the moment, you can be more resourceful. And by the way, most of the time, when you come into the present moment, what you find is there isn't a tiger before you. What you find is there's actually so much in your life that's going great, that's totally fine, that's worth celebrating, that is magic to be felt and experienced. And if you've been listening to the podcast for some time, you know that I'm trying to do better at being more grateful for what I have and not falling into the patriarchal structures of always trying to grow and get more. And to really see, if I slow down and stay present, what will I find? Because there's so much I've worked so hard to create, and I'm not fully even letting myself enjoy it. So again, that's when this came up as a tool and a resource, remembering that fear exists from the past, anxiety in the future, and magic is in the moment. So I thought for our walk today, since in the moment, when we're really present, if you are really present, you can also get access to greater signs from the universe, more intuitive hits and guidance, and the resourcefulness can go off the wall. And so rather than pulling from my brain, which would be past experience, or from the future, things that could happen to you when you're listening to the podcast, or where you might be at when this comes out, I actually thought I would pull cards for us with divine inspiration just made for us in this exact moment to give us some insight on the past and the future, with the goal of bringing us really present into this moment on our walk, and to let it be medicine that we are aware is coming in, not just for us, but for the collective, for all of us listening to this, who've been gathered together in sisterhood to have these conversations at this exact time in history, to be a part of something together, to support each other, to walk beside each other. And I don't know what those messages are going to be, but I am pulling 3 cards for us now. So the first card I'm pulling from one of my favorite oracle decks. It's called the Mystical Shaman Oracle. And when I think of shamanic healing, which I've had some experience with, I went to Peru a few years ago to do 2 ayahuasca journeys and 2 San Pedro journeys with a shaman in Peru with a group of women with the intention of healing anything Specifically, I wanted to do a lot of healing around my relationship with my mother and my past upbringing, because I'd heard that doing work with shamans in the mystical realms using plant medicine is one way to experience like 6 years of therapy in one night, which it was. So when I bought this oracle deck, I love it because I'm not, it was tough for me to choose to do the medicine, and I don't have any desire to go back anytime soon, although I have many soul sisters who bring plant medicine very consistently into their life and into their work. And this deck plus breath work are ways for me, without taking actual plant medicine, to go deep. So I love this book, but it makes me feel like it's healing for the past. So let's see what divine message wants to come through for you. And what I mean by that is if there's fear coming up in your life anywhere at all, if you're experiencing a bit of fear, then let this card be your guide. Let it be a message toward healing the past. And how funny, because the card that I pulled is many paths. And here's the essence of the card. All paths lead to spirit. What you bring to your journey is what will determine if yours is a path of suffering, a path of wisdom, a path of bliss, or a path of loss. Consider the traveler who met two stonemasons. He asks one what he is doing, and the mason replies, "I am squaring out this stone." He asks the other, who is doing the exact same thing, and gets the reply, "I am building a cathedral." One man has a job, the other man has found his work and calling. He is part of an endeavor much greater than himself. Be sure you pick a path with heart. Now I'm having a realization that I actually pulled this card during one of our very first episodes and shared this with you. So if you've been listening to the podcast, this is really funny because this just came up from a past episode. And it was a message that clearly wanted to come through for us, myself and you as the listener, and is coming through again. And the invitation of this card is that your call now is to take a big, bold step and leave the beaten path. Heaven and earth are conspiring on your behalf to support you in this move. The invitation is don't dally, lest you miss the moment. It's time to sail into the uncharted. Be sure you attend to both your path through this earth as well as your journey through the stars. And the medicine of this card for all of you around fear, around the past, is that you've outgrown your current situation and you risk losing your way in your own backyard. You're being called to step out of your comfort zone. Respond now while the call is still a gentle whisper. Even though the woods look thick and impenetrable, venture in and let nature guide your steps through the dark until you reach your destination. Remember, if you do not know where you are going, any path will take you there. Beautiful medicine for us, clearly designated for us since this came up in a past episode. So if you're having any fear, what do you take from the card of many paths? For me, this card has been coming up a lot, and I love when cards pop up often, especially when it's a huge deck like this oracle deck. And by the way, on the blog of today's episode, every week I send out a newsletter when you're subscribed at JeannineYoder.com. And in the newsletter, I share resources, pictures, personal updates that I don't share anywhere else online. So make sure you're subscribed in that newsletter. And on the blog, I'm going to put a link to these decks in case you want to get some of your own to play with divine guidance entering your life. So subscribe there at JeannineYoder.com to make sure to get those, or check out the blog. So we've dealt with the fear, we've dealt with the past. Now I'm going to turn to another deck of cards I love called the Sacred Rebels Guidebook. And this has a lot of beautiful messages from our sacred goddesses, spirit animals sometimes, just messages from the rebels, which I believe we all are. And let's see what wants to come through regarding anxiety. So think for a minute about somewhere you might be experiencing some anxiety in your life, future tripping a bit, that sensation in your body, and let's clear it out on our walk, both with the unconscious mind, the nature around us, letting, as each step happens on the ground beneath our feet, Mother Earth, take out those future thoughts, rip them away into her thick roots and soil, and dissolve them into seeds. And let's see what message wants to come through from the Sacred Rebels Guidebook. So it's the very first card in the deck that came through, and it's a picture of an owl holding sacred geometry flying in front of a golden sun that is beautiful with golden driplets of light flowing through. And I'll take a picture of these cards I've pulled and also add them into the newsletter and the blog, because sometimes the messages that the book gives us from the deck is beautiful, but more important is your intuition and what you see. And some of us have not an auditory intuition, but a visual one. And so the card might speak to you even more than the words that I share from the book. For me, just looking at this picture, a lot of my own understandings and vision and wisdom come through. So make sure you head on over using the description notes in today's episode to look at the photos of these cards on the blog. But here is the meaning of this card. It's number 1, after the storm. And this message again is coming through in relationship to anxiety and future tripping, all in honor of bringing us to this very present moment. The reading. There's a thunderstorm about. It is either headed your way or just passing through now. Don't make a thunderstorm mean more than what it is, though. You don't have to fear it. You might even feel excitement about it. After all, a thunderstorm is just nature's way of gathering energy together that needs to be released. With a release of tension, relief, and freedom soon follow, often with a fresh perspective and perhaps the gift of a promising, hopeful vision for your future. Perhaps the particular storm building within you or around you is causing you to quake in your boots. It might be a storm of building emotions, threatening to erupt or already exploding, seemingly beyond your conscious control. You might feel an uncomfortable sense of emotional or psychological pressure within, and if something doesn't happen and soon, you fear you might just burst. You may also sense that there are forces operating beyond your control, and you would be right. I definitely sense this in my life. There is in life and in the creative process a need to allow for wild storms. There will be those precious moments of peace beforehand and the release and revitalization that follows. Yet the storm in the middle is essential. It is a natural part of the creative process. Without this building and releasing of energy, we would suffer from boredom and stagnancy. You may prefer the excitement of the storm or the fresh, open feeling that accompanies its clearing. You may find it comforting to be faced with the power of something in which you can only participate rather than control. My dog scared me. See, anxiety, letting it clear. Either way, the storm wisdom offers you the gift of bringing things to a head and clearing them away so that the energy can be freed from a pattern that has had its day and is ready to become something new. Sometimes the pressures that fuel the storms of our lives have been building up for a long time without us being fully aware of it. It might be pressure from our own minds, creating unnecessary burdens upon us, such as burdens of fear or self-doubt. It could be pressure to appear a certain way or to fight against life out of a mistaken belief that this is necessary for survival. Sometimes the pressure is little more than the impossible dream of perfection and a need to gently, or even with great dramatic flourish, cast that aside so that you can dare to be what you are and create from your heart. Even if you are not sure what the storm is about, don't lose confidence in your ability to successfully bear its progression until you are safely at the other side of the experience. Even amongst the chaos of change and in moments of anxiety, know that you have so much light and trust in your heart that you can see the storm is but a passing process and nothing that need worry you. If you can't sense that the storm yet is coming, this oracle is important for you. The storm is coming, and you can, if you wish, feel the beautiful, exhilarating gift of it as you are empowered to cast aside what has been and receive the gift of a fresh new take on things. Your confidence is to remain intact. Whatever is happening or soon will happen in your life, this storm of sorts is transformational and supportive of your growth. It is going to clear away cobwebs and free you, open you to new creative energy in life. Remember, there can be no rainbows without a little rain. This oracle is also confirmation that if you have been praying for help, your prayers have been heard, and the great creative intelligence of our universe is responding to you, stepping in and shaking things up so that situations can be sorted out according to a greater wisdom. So let go. Hold only to your inner self and allow everything to be cleansed in the sacred storm. And here's a healing process we can go through together right now, offered from the oracle, where we can be alone now with privacy but protection and heart with one another, out in nature. And when you're ready, repeat the following wherever possible with your arms open to the sky as you walk. Repeat each sentence after me. Storms so wild. Storms of grace. I call your blessing into my heart now. May I release and let go. May I be revitalized and grow. I open up my heart to you now. Storms of grace. I stand my ground as I allow your magic to cleanse and surround any outgrown energy which I no longer need, anything which will sap or to deplete rather than feed. Storms of grace. Merciful earth, with your help, I experience rebirth. And now that we have completed our declaration, simply place your hands in prayer at your heart And close your eyes for a moment and pause. Breathe in and breathe out. And be aware of yourself, what you feel, and what is happening in your body. From the top of your head to the soles of your feet. And then say, through divine creative genius, this is now so. And we have completed our healing of anxiety and future tripping. And finally, I bring us one final gift for the present moment. Let us be so fully in the present moment now. Let us really look with our eyes, taste with our tongues, hear the sounds around us, touch with greater intimacy and awareness. Let us be in the present moment today for the rest of our walk and in our lives, with those around us, in our businesses. Let us only be in the power of right now, where there is no fear, where there is no anxiety, where there is only experience. And for this moment, I turn to the spirit animal oracle, because oftentimes when you're really present, especially walking in nature, little animals cross our paths with signs. So maybe one of these will really cross your path, but if not, the frog spirit comes with us with a message, and the message is clear out the clutter. And if you see a frog anytime before, during, or after the podcast, please let me know, because I would love to see those. You can always use the hashtag #WalkWithMePodcast, and we'll see each other walking. I love to see you on your walks. And here's the message for us in the present moment today for the collective, as all of these messages have been for us, with messages for the greater collective of women gathering. And this message from the frog spirit, clear out the clutter, says, frog spirit knows that while all the other frogs are croaking away, this is a time for you to simplify and declutter your life so you can feel content on your own lily pad. Even when life isn't creating a total cacophony, we can become drawn to the excitement of lots of noise. Then, the next thing we know, our schedules and homes are cluttered with commitments we regret making, and objects taking up valuable space. Even relationships need decluttering, as they often become messy. Frog spirit appears to tell us to clean house, prioritize what you need, and get rid of or give away the rest, so you can have some space in your day and in your head. You don't need the old stuff and its stories shouting at you about the past. Along with physical clutter, friendships are sometimes kept long past their expiration date, weighing you down with unnecessary baggage. Now is the time to let go. Whatever you need will appear when you need it. So release your grip on all that clutter that is making you feel anxious and burdened. Frog spirit wants you to reclaim your space, unencumbered by shoulds, oughts, and could have beens. Let go and jump. You are free from all that old stuff. And this message comes for protection. What's weighing you down? Is it time for spiritual and psychic cleansing? Are you overdue for letting go of the voices that surround you? They may have started to get into your head, these voices that bog you down and keep you from leaping forward into a better situation. Let others croak and create their dramas while you make space for yourself and for hearing your own thoughts as they arise. Declutter your schedule and stop trying to do it all and then some. Let others manage their own baggage rather than allowing it to be dumped on you, for your lily pad needs to be clear of others' clutter. Frog spirit may also come bearing a message about your physical space. Do you hold on to things because you are afraid of losing your energetic connection to the past, to people who are no longer in your life, or to goals you have never pursued? Or could you have these items around you because you would feel guilty if you got rid of them? Are your storage and living spaces stuffed with reminders of what you are not, when they should be holding only objects that reflect who you are and aspire to be? If something is no longer making you feel joyful, empowered, and excited, Frog Spirit is telling you to let it go and free yourself to leap forward into something new, trusting you will always have what you need. So, my dear sister, I will continue walking in silence, reflecting on the power of these messages that have brought us to this very present moment. And in this moment, letting the Frog Spirit message to declutter and clear out. And I hope that you will continue your walk if it's not complete, and take a moment to really be in your senses, to be present to this moment, to feel the power of now, to thank the messages that have come through for us, to thank each other for being here. I'd love to see your pictures on my Instagram at Jeannine.Yoder. I hope you're subscribed so you get all the goodies that I only share no other place online, at JeannineYoder.com, when you get our weekly episodes that drop every Wednesday. And if you want to meet in person, walk together in person, don't forget, doors are closing pretty soon for the Captivate Retreat. It's almost sold out, which will be in February 2020 in Sonoma, California. I would love to be with you and walk beside you in person. Thank you for listening to today's episode. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your walk and the power of this moment.